There's nothing to writing. All you do is sit down at a typewriter and bleed. Welcome to The Bleeders, a podcast and support group about book writing and publishing. I'm writer and podcaster Courtney Kosak, and each episode I'll bring you new conversations with authors, agents, and publishers about how to write and sell books. Today I am joined by Zachary Zane, the author of Boyslut, a Memoir, and Manifesto. Zachary is a popular sex writer known for his work in Men's Health, Cosmopolitan, The New York Times, and more, where he explores sex, relationships, and LGBTQ culture. In this conversation, we dive into the nitty-gritty of writing book proposals, the business side of publishing, and the long game of building platform as a writer. But before we get into it with Zach, I want to tell you about the writing intensive of your dreams. It's the writing intensive of my dreams. That's why I came up with it. It's called the New Year's Newsletter and Pitch Party Extravaganza. It is every day in January, guaranteed to revolutionize your writing practice. You will write over 22,000 words in the month. And I've already taught 3 cohorts, and the proof is in the pudding, baby. My students have been absolutely crushing it. 2 of them have recently gotten bylines in the New York Times, Slate, BuzzFeed, Huffington Post. I'm getting new emails with the wins every day. It's so exciting. So if you are interested in joining in on the fun and up-leveling your own writing practice, and hey, maybe landing a few dream bylines, who wouldn't like to do that? Head on over to my website. It is CourtneyKosak.com/teaching. Again, Courtney Kosak, last name KOCAK.com/teaching. And you can use code BLEEDERS for $100 off. Okay, let's get into it with Zach.
Hi, my name is Zachary Zane, and I'm the author of Boyslut, a Memoir, and Manifesto. So I write the sex and relationship advice column, Sexplain It, at Men's Health. I also have a non-monogamy column at Cosmo called Navigating Non-Monogamy. And I've written for New York Times, Rolling Stone, Washington Post, GQ, Slate, and I write about sex, relationships, and LGBTQ culture.
So did you sell this on proposal?
Yes. So I wrote the proposal. I got a literary agent. I worked with her for about a year tweaking it. It was also during COVID. So like she would be like, hey, it's sorry, it took me 7 months or 8 months to get back to you with edits. I'm also going through COVID and everything fucking sucks. And I'm like, no, there's no rush. The world's ablaze. Like
Yes.
take our time. So I don't think it would usually take that much longer with your agent to tweak the final proposal. But my proposal itself is close to 40,000 words.
Okay. Like how many pages?
Well, my book is 75,000 words.
Your book is 75. I just wrote a proposal that's like 80 some pages. And I was like, is this crazy? But it sounds like your proposal is about that long too.
Mine, I think, was 120.
120. Damn.
And that's because it's our first proposal, right? This is
Okay.
our first book. So when so much of your proposal, as you know, but maybe aspiring writers don't know, is not dedicated to your actual book. It's about how can you sell your book, which is not necessarily a skill set that I had. My sample chapters, the chapter outlines, the chapter summaries, that I could do. But there's at least for me, there's essentially a section where you list every single fucking celebrity you know. And people are like, what? I'm like, will they promote it? Will they sell it? Will this person... they have 1 million followers and this is a friend of mine and they'll be able to reshare it and they care about that. So much of it is like, who's your audience? Who's your market? Who are the other comp books that are similar to yours, but yours is different enough and could potentially do better? And so much of it is dedicated to claiming you have an audience, promising that you can sell X number of copies of this book. And once you have 1 or 2 books behind your belt, you're like, oh, proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? Like, I have these books, they are sold, I have an audience. So it's really frustrating, sometimes to write this proposal because I'm like, who's my marketing and audience? I'm like, everyone, queer people, not queer, but who the fuck, people are going to read it and like it. You know what I mean? But it's like a lot of that, which is quite frustrating. But I started writing the proposal at the end of 2018. The book comes out May 2023. And again, COVID slowed things down until I got money after selling the book. I was only doing it in short spurts when I had enough money, otherwise I should be working on other freelance pieces. So it was a slow journey. And then kind of once you actually get the advance, you have enough money to work on your book. Although you should note that I submitted the first draft of my book before I even got the first third of my advance. It often takes a lot of time to sign, anywhere between like 3 and 6 and 7 months. I think the average is like 3 to 5. So, because they're still figuring out the final tweaks in the contract, which is really kind of frustrating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being like, okay, the whole point of the advance is that I can focus on the book and not have to write other things because I have this money coming in. And so it completely defeats the purpose of an advance. I was still, at that point, I was still writing my columns, but I also like essentially only took the other pieces I took were just the money pieces. And that was it. So like easy money pieces, any like harder op-ed, even if it was for a better publication, I still would be like, I just don't have the time. It's book and easy money is kind of what I did for the 6 months.
That's really smart. I mean, you do have a platform though. So how much, when you're talking about this marketing plan part of your proposal, did you feel like when you finished it, you were like, yeah, I can market the shit out of this book? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, and like essentially my agent, her response is like, overwhelm them. I want them to skip this chapter because they're like, Jesus fuck. Okay, we get it. We get it. We don't need these like, just like, so like every piece every feature I've had written on me, every podcast, every time I'm quoted as an expert, every mainstream article I was in. So like, it was just such an overwhelming amount. And I did this. I only got an Instagram in like 2017, which is pretty late, in order to start selling and promoting myself as a writer. So I like did all of this. I did a lot of favors for people. I wrote articles for free for their blogs or helped promote their stuff with the knowledge that when my book comes out, I need your support. I need you resharing. I need you helping me in any capacity you can. So I was kind of prepared for this business side for a while and was planning 5 years out. How am I going to sell this book? How am I going to promote this book? And it's something that you can't start thinking about too early.
All right, Bleeders, that was just a little preview. The whole interview is so good and it is over on YouTube. The channel is youtube.com/@bleederspodcast. There is a link in the episode description that will take you right to this specific video. And make sure you're signed up for the Bleeders Companion Substack for all kinds of newsletter exclusives. There's also a link for that in the episode description. I actually recently launched a paid subscription where I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes of all of my best bylines. And I just published a post about my return to stand-up comedy and how I got ready for my first show. I freaking crushed it. So super fun stuff happening over there and super fun stuff happening over here. I've got another great episode for you next week. So join me again next time for another instructive episode. In the meantime, happy bleeding.